What's up, fam? Hey, thank y'all for tuning in once again to the Growth Network, where we're grassrooting our wealth, tradition, and heritage. As always, be sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe to the channel. And when you subscribe, be sure to hit that notification bell so every time I drop a video, you will be the first to know about it. Hey, I want to talk about this story from the New York Post. Came out about 5 days ago. And state that North Carolina school condemned for holding mock slave auction of black students. Isn't it interesting that in this day and age, I always tell kids and people, there's no way that there's a child that should be flunking the class in schools if you got a cell phone in your hands all day. Because all the information you need is right there in the palm of your hand. This also goes for adults. And there's no way that you shouldn't know about nationwide or major news stories especially across this country, if you have a cell phone in your hand. And the reason why I say this is because a story like this is not the first, and I don't think it's the second story I've heard about like this. In the past, I'm gonna go out on a limb and say 2 years. I really want to say a year, maybe a year and a half. But I'm gonna say within the last 2 school years, we heard stories like this. And it's shocking, not that it happens, because I know racism still exists, even with the kids. Because matter of fact, when Obama became president and everyone said, oh man, got a black president, racism is dead. And I sat there looking like, you got to be the stupidest person I ever heard in my life, because my mom's still alive. My mom grew up in Southwest Arkansas, little racist town, like a lot of these little towns are, maybe like a lot of these major cities are too. And she talks about the racism that she went through growing up. And I sit here thinking, but wait a minute, if my mom was still living, that means the kids that treated her that way, they're still living. And if my mom is telling me stories about what she went through as a black child in the little town of Arkansas, that means these kids, those people have kids, and they're teaching their kids how they treated people, black people, back in the day. And so those kids are still alive. So which means the generations, the education just keeps going. So no, like I said, you have to be a fool to actually think racism died back when Obama became president. And then you want to think, oh, Trump became president and all came back. No, man, it ain't going nowhere. It ain't going nowhere. It's just that Trump probably helped them feel that they could come out the closet. Bring their sheets and their hoods out of the closet, but that stuff ain't never went nowhere. But anyway, we're gonna talk about this story here. These kids learn this stuff from their parents. These parents know what's going on. So it's not so when I say that I'm shocked, I'm surprised that I hear about it. I'm surprised to hear about it because not that I don't think it'll happen, not because I think racism is dead, because I know it isn't, but it's just like you hear about these stories all the time. So it's like, why ain't nobody? It's more like I told you so, like I already knew. Let's say surprise, not surprise. Let's say it like that. I mean, it just goes to say, hey, happened again. You know how these people are. They're still around. So why are we surprised that it happened? I'm just like saying, dang, it happened again, really? And ain't nobody, and people are surprised that it happened. I mean, that's where my shock comes from. That more that people are surprised. I'm surprised people are surprised that this stuff is still happening, because there are people who think, like I said, racism. Oh, but let's get into the story. Give our takes on it as we go along. It said a parent has condemned a North Carolina school after her son and his fellow black students were, quote unquote, sold at a mock slave auction by their white classmates, according to reports. Ashley Palmer was a white lady, and the boy's dad, he's African, he's black. I say he's black, I don't know where he's from. But she was upset. She's the one who made the big complaint. I wonder why he didn't do it. I mean, I'm looking at this picture, so I'm assuming this is a boy's dad. So Ashley Palmer complained on Facebook about the shocking incident at the K-8 J.S. Waters School in Goldstone near Raleigh, which has 195 students. 68% of those which are white. So if it's let's see, K through 8, this might be a little private school. But on 195 students, usually a school that small, it's a private school. So that's your first issue right there. But I can understand. But anyway, our son experienced a slave auction by his classmates, and when he opened up, we were mad. We were made aware that this type of stuff seems to be the norm so much that he didn't think it was worth sharing. Palmer, who is white, wrote on March 4th. So seems to be the norm. So that means that this has happened more than once, huh? All right. His friend went for $350. Was this real money or fake money? And another student was a slave master because he knew how to handle them. Now, she wrote, we even have a video of students harmonizing the N-word. Since when were children so blatantly racist? Why is this culture acceptable? They've been racist, Mrs. Palmer. They've been racist. Your husband over there quiet because he done married a white woman, and he probably know his parents have probably told him about this, how these people are. But he just dead set on. You know what? I say it like this: people, you can marry who you want to marry. I always feel like a lot of relationships are created out of spite against the parents. Real talk. Like if you get a girl and she's dating a bad boy, and you try to tell her she can't date this guy, she gonna grind it. She gonna go even harder. If you tell somebody not to date somebody else out because of a race, you're gonna go even harder to stay with that person. If somebody's like a goth kid and you tell them there's something wrong with that person, don't hang around that person, they're gonna be with them even harder. So that's what I think this might. No, I don't know, but that's what I said. That's what a lot of these relationships are, like in a relation. I mean, you can love who you want to love. Period. Got no problem with that. The only question I have is, when the shit hits the fan, and you know what I mean, the question is, what side are you and what side are they gonna be on? That's all. So that's the only question. After that, you know what I'm saying? Live long, love, and prosper. Palmer added, parents teach your kids that this behavior isn't okay. Teach them also that silence is complicity. Laughter is even worse. I agree with you, man. The mother was reportedly furtherly infuriated when she learned that those involved had only received a 1-day suspension for the abhorrent act, which sparked outrage in the community. A group called, wouldn't it be considered like a hate crime? Like slavery and mock slaves and mock slave auctions and stuff? I would think so. Might need to get that bill passed. Why don't it take about 100 years to get that passed? A group called Chatham Organization for Racial Equity said in the press release Monday that the auction involved middle school students and occurred in the presence of staff and faculty and while being filmed, according to the paper. And what was the question the mother asked? How is this acceptable? Because again, like I said, generationally, these adults are teaching these kids how to be racist. And they think it's funny and think it's cute when they're children, but when they get older and they get upset at a black person, it's gonna come out and become from being funny to being real. On Monday, Chatham County School Superintendent Anthony Jackson, who was a brother, apologized for the incident and ordered immediate action to prevent similar activities from happening. This was posted 5 days ago, but she wrote this on March 4th, and he just now really hearing about this. He said, quote, I want to offer an apology to every single student who has ever felt unsafe while in our care, to every student who has ever felt demeaned, disrespected, or marginalized because of their race, ethnicity, sex, gender, religion, or disability. Man, I hate, what do you call this? I hate these cookie cutter these statements on stuff like this. When will people learn how to actually state what they feel without, it's nothing wrong with saying, hey, man, this is some BS, racist stuff. and we ain't gonna tolerate racism in my school, and we're gonna deal with it accordingly and cut it off. But no, he got to add ethnicity, sex, gender, religion, disability. That had nothing to do with this story. That's why racial issues in this country get watered down and get pushed to the back burner, because people are afraid to make it the number one issue in anything, even when the situation clearly is a racial issue here. But this is what's funny about this. These are the same people who do not want to teach critical race theory, which I got my opinions and thoughts on that. Don't want to teach, who trying to keep critical race theory out of schools because they said it'll make white kids feel bad, but yet they can teach their own children how to hold slave auctions. That is some bullshit. Actually, so let's keep going with this terrible, this bullcorn apology. In Chatham's County Schools, we proudly boast that diversity is our strength, and moving forward, it will be our intentional focus to ensure that this celebration includes everyone, he said. Actions such as these, they do not reflect who we are as a school system and will not be tolerated. You ain't got to put that out there. Like I said, all you got to sit there and say, look, what happened? The slave auction, this racist, this racist event, this stuff will not be tolerated, and we're going to handle that, end quote. And then you just walk off with your Joe Clark bat, in your hand, and you walk off because you know you finna handle some business. They're gonna want you to include everybody else, but no, we'll include them when it's their time. Right now, this is about racism. Let's say those who participated in acts that demean any person are acting outside the values of our school system will be held accountable using every means at our disposal. Boy, I swear. As painful as it's been to hear some of these accounts, I want to thank those who exercise the courage to step forward and speak their truth. Dude, how you ain't know this is happening? You only got 195 kids in this school. How you know this is happening in your school? Unless somebody put it out on Facebook. I'm tripping. It is now our responsibility to do things that also need to be the true beneficiaries of the many wonderful programs and opportunities we have to offer in our school system. Like I say, after that first sentence he said, then I would just shut him off. It said during public comments at the Monday meeting, Christy Wagner, a parent of one of the sole black kids, made an emotional plea to the board. Let's see what she said. The reality is these acts of racism, there we go, are not only happening here in Chatham County, but across North Carolina, across the country. See, she kept it where it's supposed to be, racism. More should be done around addressing racism in school, because no parent should have to stand here after hearing that son was sold on the slave trade. Man, that school should have been burned down. Anyway, I've never thought in a million years, yes you did, that I would be standing here talking about my son's experience of racism in middle school. I don't know why. I see where you live. I don't know why. This is America. What are you talking about? This moment in my son's early life has already made him question playing a sport he loves with his friends. They ain't his friends. They never were, but you know what? The truth came out. It's good you learn this at a young age. People say this can traumatize kids, but it's good they learn that this is still a reality at a young age, so that way when they get older, they won't be dumbfounded looking stupid when on a job and they hold a mock slave auction and they just standing there, you know what I'm saying, getting ready to do a soft shoe, handing out nip julep and lemonade and tea cakes. They can actually know how to handle this as they get older. I've learned these things when I was a kid, and it ain't traumatized me. I ain't with no slave auction, but I dealt with racism with kids growing up, and my mom and dad, you know what I'm saying, put me on the game, and I know how to deal with it accordingly, and I put my kids on it too. Again, if you want to have friends of different races, date people of different races, that's fine, but you got to be prepared. You got to tell, if you want to do, if your kids want to do that, you just got to tell them, hey, do what you do, you live your life. But just understand there's good and bad to it, and it's sad because the country we live in, the world that we live in, makes it to where there are some things that you want that you just can't have. There's some things that you probably truly deserve or feel you deserve and you just can't have. And it's sad, but that's just the way the world is. But this story here, she said also in ending, she said, I pray this does not impact him mentally and socially going forward. Not if you teach him right. Not if you teach him right. Every time something like this here, like I say, you put him on game on how to handle himself, he'll be all right. You know what I'm saying? You make sure he don't be a victim and understand that this is a victim type of building country, but he ain't got to be a victim. You know what I'm saying? He can learn from this and do better than this. It should motivate him. That's what you need to do. Motivate this child to be greater. To where he ain't got to sit there. He can hear this and ain't got to sit there and deal with it, because he put himself in a position where he can just walk away from it and don't have to deal with it and sit there and accept it because there's no other options. That's what you do as a parent. But anyway, that's all I got for this story. Man, leave your comments below. Again, share the video. If you want to support financially, you get the Cash App, or you can go to the website, buy some merchandise. But if you don't want to do that, if you can't do that, hey, a like and sharing this video to a few people, man, that goes a long way. But anyway, until next time, I leave you with peace, and I'll see you on the other side.